Hi, welcome back. We are on episode 68 today. So, Eve, where are you taking us today?
Well, today we are taking our audience to the heights of Meruvardhana. So Meruvardhana is the old name of the city called Srinagar in Kashmir. So Srinagar is actually developed all around the Lake Dal, and this is pretty much where Yeshua will end up his life. So we're gonna do more into the details about
Okay.
how they are
Interesting.
integrating into this culture and their new life.
Yeah.
So in the previous episodes, they had been coming to the end of this incredibly long journey, close to 5,400 kilometers. Okay, so I would say probably 45 to 4,600 miles.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, walking or riding horses and mules, or camels.
Wow.
So,
That feels like it could take a lifetime in
yes,
itself.
yeah. And when you look at the map that I will display also, from all the way from Damascus all the way to Srinagar, I mean, it's just incredible. Going through mountains, deserts.
Yeah, it's not like there's a Holiday Inn around the corner
No,
either, right?
no.
I mean, they have to
Yes,
find places to be able
yes.
to
And every night,
sleep and
they
eat.
raise their little tents and they settle their little campment. It's not easy. Yeah.
No.
So 2 days later, with bruised and tired ankles and feet, the small group, and at that point, the small group is Yeshua, his brother Thomas, the wife of Thomas, Mariam, and Sarah, the sister of Yeshua. In the previous episode, we know that Miriam, the mother, died in the city of Marwi, later on renamed Mary, in Turkmenistan. So this is when we talk about the groups, this is what it is.
Okay.
4 people. Yeah. So they finally arrived near the lake, the famous Dal Lake, which is actually quite beautiful. And they all go in the water, including the 4 little horses that were very happy to refresh and clean themselves, after this long walk. So Yeshua and his group are wading in the lake, trying to find their balance in the mud at the bottom of the lake, And they were 2 to 3 miles away from the city of Meruvardhana, Srinagar. And they decide to establish their camp near the lake. And during the night, they actually go skinny dipping in the lake, all 4 of them.
With the horses? No, I'm kidding.
I guess the horses already did it. Yeah. It was a feeling of freedom that was unthinkable in Judea,
Oh
right?
my gosh. Whew.
Yeah. The indecencies and the lack of modesty would have had all 4 of them lapidated in the country of Judea.
You mean killed? Like what do you mean by that?
Lapidate means stoned to death.
Oh.
Okay, that's how they treat people who go naked, or who bathe naked. So it was 12 years since Yeshua had met Melkus at this location on the market while coming back from the Himalayas. So Melkus was the caravan leader that Yeshua used, the caravan that Yeshua used to go the first time to the east.
Yeah.
Okay, and on the way back, by miracle, he again met Melkus. And Melkus took him back to Judea, right, with him. And that was about 12, 13 years ago, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
they had a close connection.
Yes,
I mean,
well, very
Yeshua
much so.
almost stayed wherever Melkus was. Remember,
Yes,
there was a
right.
point where he thought, I could really stay here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it gave us also a little bit of an idea about his age. When Yeshua came back, he was about 30 years old, 31 years old. He stayed 1 year in Egypt, and then taught and was more active in the land of Palestine for about 10 years, and then after his crucifixion, stayed a few years in the secret, the mystery school of Carmel, and after that, decided to go back to the east, to Meruvardhana. So at that point, I would say he's probably 43, 44 years old at that point. And not much has changed in Meruvardhana, with perhaps a temple or two which has been built. The whole place was peaceful, open-minded, tolerant, and welcoming. So really, the contrast, contrary of what Palestine was at that time. Yeah. The question was, what are they going to do? How to make a living and where? So they're always wondering that. So the presence of Yeshua would become obvious, and his role too. However, Yeshua was insisting that the other ones, and Thomas in particular, would find their path. I mean, he was happy to have them with him, but they needed to also
He was trying to cut the apron strings.
Yes, exactly. They needed to express, what they had in their heart.
They needed, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they needed to radiate love, offer the contents of their soul, and not simply live in the shadow of Yeshua. Yeah.
Right.
So Yeshua decided to establish their home in the location where the river meets the lake, in a village of fishermen. And for little money, they could rent a hut or a shack. Their little home was actually right on the shore of the lake. It was built on stilts, and they had a lot of ducks and geese all around them. Though these are the details given by the Akashic memory. So Sarah, the sister, a few days later came to Yeshua and she said, "Yeshua, when will you take us to the mountain of Solomon? It is so close, and I feel like you do not care about it anymore."
Oh.
So she's curious about that famous mountain because Yeshua has been talking to them about it, So
right.
The curiosity is definitely there. So at that point, Yeshua hugged his sister, and he understood what she meant, her impatience, and also her surprise regarding the slowness that was now permeating Yeshua, And in fact, the mountain of Solomon, which is actually a little mount which is close to the lake, and again, we will publish maps showing exactly where this mountain is. So that mountain of Solomon was no longer limited to that big hill on the side of the lake. In Yeshua's mind, that domain was a space of light encompassing Meruvardhana, the lake, and all the high mountains around it. It was like a sphere, and in its center was a pulsating Swayambhu Linga. So the Swayambhu Linga is that egg-shaped stone which is sitting in the temple on top of the mountain of Solomon. And we can, again, for more details about this, I am sending back the audience to the episode called Babaji, where he meets Babaji for the first time at that exact location.
Okay.
So the following day, the little group decides to ascend the mountain of Solomon, and on top was a big surprise. There was a crowd of people, sadhus, some naked, some covered with ashes,
It's a different scene.
They were all gathered and had taken possession of the place for multiple days. So some were in a trance state, in ecstasy, and while prophesying, others were just a flow of mantras, while a few others were just eating, worryless.
Chilling out.
Yeah, chilling out, basically. So Yeshua was used to this kind of gathering because having been in India, he has seen that many times, right? This is not unusual. But for Thomas, his brother, it was a shock since he was expecting the silence, and the reverence and the respect, you're in a holy place, and so you should be quiet. And obviously, Indians are not behaving in the same way. Yeah? And Yeshua, seeing the perplexity of his brother, says, "What you are looking for in absolute purity, you cannot find it here on the shore of that lake, my brother. The life of humans is bubbling here. It goes from ritual to rituals, and the divine is creating an exultation with no limits as compared to other cultures, like our culture, And Yeshua continues, "I love the silence, and I wish we would have found it here. But look at them. Can you feel what lives in them and what makes them so close to us?"
Yeah, that's true.
Each one of them has a star in himself. The memory of that star is so powerful that it pushes them to embrace life and rejoin the divine. Because of that push, they are not drinking life with small lukewarm gulps. They are embracing it,
Full of
fully.
joy, right?
Exactly, yeah, exactly, yeah. And Thomas turned to Yeshua and says, "Why do you say a star and not the Son of God?" And Yeshua responds, "Because one night I went to visit the stars which are populating our universe. I was not far from here, in a place in the mountains." So that was obviously during his first trip. "It was shortly before I came back to Palestine. Yes, I wanted to reach the stars to see if they are not just a window through which the Eternal looks at us, as they were telling us when we were children." Do you remember, Thomas? So it's interesting that they had this belief, that they were telling the kids basically all the stars are like a little window where God can actually peek through and look at what you're doing.
Imagine?
Yeah.
It's kind of cute.
Yeah, cute, but also silly. Yeah. In fact, on that night, I saw a multitude of bodies who were living in the skies, but mostly I understood that all stars are in fact suns, and that there was a star for each one of us, to the infinite. I will talk about it later. So, in evening, when the fervor of the crowd has slowed down, Yeshua invites Sarah, Miriam, and Thomas to climb the stairs leading to the alcove, to the little temple, basically, where the large black egg of stone was resting. And it was still there, still and in full power for eternity. Well, we're going to see that the eternity has a limited amount of time. Yeah. So the fragrance of yasamana, which is the jasmine, was surrounding it while the sky was turning red, burning the horizon. So it was obviously a special moment.
Right.
Yeah, you can imagine that sitting on top of that mountain, next to that incredible stone, and we're going to see where it's coming from, while watching the sunset in the distance. Yeah. And Yeshua says, "Awun, allow me to no longer evoke you behind the mask of your name. I want to teach the sacred art to join you without limiting its concept behind the image of a father. There are here ears and minds who, more than anywhere else, are capable to understand." Yeah. And I think, again, he's making a reference to the Buddhist and the Indian Hindus traditions, which are more open-minded than what was going on in Palestine at that time. Yeah.
Right.
And still today.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they have their closed-mindedness about things, but
yeah, but at least they are open to certain things. Yeah. So the little group, and again, the group is Yeshua and his 3 sisters and brother, spend the night near the temples and the lingam. And in the morning, by miracle, most of the sadhus had left, so there was nobody left. Some fog was floating above the valley, and there were some birds of prey circling in the sky. And the group all bowed in front of the dark egg of Shankara, and they started going down in the valley to the lake. So Yeshua realized that they all had found a new strength, some kind of celestial connection, which was confirming the long journey they had taken for months. And Thomas said, "This is it, Master." He still calls his brother Master. "Our celestial roots. You talked about them many times, and I had not understood what you meant until now. But tell me, how can such an enormous egg of stone talk to us about the sky?" And Yeshua responds, "It speaks about it for the exact reason you mentioned, my brother. It can do that because it experienced it.
Yeah.
It crossed the skies and space until it landed among us. This is why it has the divine breath in it, and this is why it has touched you in your heart."
Isn't that so beautiful to get like an answer to
Yes.
to something so big and beautiful,
Yes.
like why it's here and
Yeah. So this is a parenthesis that I'm making, but the Swayambhu Linga, which is also called at that time the Throne of Solomon, was originally a beetle which is an ovoid meteor, probably too similar to the Omphalos, which is located in Delphi, in the city of Delphi in Greece. And that betyl comes from the Hebrew Beit El, which means divine dwelling. Yeah. So most of those betyls are normally black. So what Yeshua is referring to is actually a meteor that fell from the sky, and obviously the stones or what it is made of may be something which is unknown to planet Earth, and that stone had been carved and polished, and placed there in that specific location. And Yeshua goes and he talks to Thomas. You're wondering about the color of that stone, aren't you? It is that darkness that troubles you. And Thomas says, yes. And Yeshua continued, then why do you welcome it every night when your eyelids are closing? Right? When we close our eyes, it becomes dark again.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, black is not the darkness in the way you think. It is in fact a light designed to awake another light, or rather the light that is one with it. It's twin light. It is matter and power, celestial and terrestrial at the same time. I told you yesterday of these stars, which are in fact suns. They have a secret, and it is the same as yours. The divine dream of creation birthed them as a pair, one white, the other black. Or if you prefer, one as fire and the other as water. One of male polarity and the other of female polarity. Or the other way around. When a man creates something, it is because a woman initiated him. Okay? So, therefore, we all are the extension of a star, half male and half females, always seeking what we are missing. Once we are complete, we will become again a star, that is to say, a sun in front of the great sun of the Blessed One, ready to spread our love and energy on suffering worlds. So let's pause here, because what Yeshua is saying is very deep, very profound. And I think even modern science is not there yet. But let's see.
They're getting there.
Yeah. So what he's saying is basically that when the sun is created, there is a visible sun, but there is also a dark sun, what we call a dark sun or a black sun.
Mm-hmm.
Create maybe an alternate universe. Okay. They're always created in pairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the balance. The universe is fully balanced. It has to always be balanced. And then he's talking about once we are complete, we will become again a star. And I think this is one of the most difficult teachings that can be spread today on the planet Earth due to the lack of advancement of humankind. But when we are finally enlightened, and we go through all the different steps to become what we call a creator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our destiny to all of us is to become a creator. And when you become a creator, you actually take you become a sun, because that's how you can create also a solar system, and you can develop life on all the planets that you have been creating.
Okay.
So those few sentences are actually very deep and are going very, very far. So Thomas says, oh, so this is where you are, Master. I understand it better now. And Yeshua responds, it is not what I am, which is important, Thomas, but the path that I am inspiring. And in the background, Sarah and Miriam are listening, although Yeshua were not addressing them directly. Mm-hmm. But Yeshua was doing it in an intentional way, because he knew that hearing a secret was often more effective than teaching, especially among women who were not confident enough about themselves, right? Yeah. This was his way of teaching. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we know that women, when they listen to a secret or when they hear a secret, it really sticks more than when they go to class. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But...
No, you shouldn't. Men are the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some, anyway.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about this. The original Shiva Lingam, which was in that mountain, that little mount next to the Lake Dal, was actually, he was not alone. There was also 300 idols displayed with him. And all this was destroyed by Sultan Sikandar, who ruled Kashmir, a few hundred years after Yeshua came. And they tried later on to repair that egg, that stone, but I think it had been broken in multiple pieces. So it's quite sad that a stupid ruler and tyrant tried to destroy everything, not knowing what it was. And I wanted to also mention that there are two types of lingam which are revered and respected and appreciated, and one of them is, of course, the stone landing from space, right, the meteor. But there is also another process, which is more an alchemical process, which consists into hardening mercury. So mercury is normally liquid,
right.
But there is an alchemical process which allows you to make it turn into something very solid, almost like a piece of metal.
Oh, wow.
Very solid. Okay. So there is a yogi which is alive today, Yogi Raj Siddhanath, which is responsible for the Earth Peace Temple in the forest ashram, and this is near Pune in India. And that guy, that yogi, in a book that he wrote about Babaji, is giving a lot of steps on how to turn mercury into solid matter. And he explains how the egg was created.
Interesting.
And I was able to find some pictures, so you can see on the pictures, the egg, the lingam made of solid mercury.
I wonder how he did that, because when we were kids, it was like you had to stay away from mercury. Mercury was dangerous. Well, again, it was.
Yeah, mercury is dangerous if you do certain things. But again, this is what the FDA is telling us, and they lie a lot. But it's interesting to see that in the 18th century and 17th centuries, mercury was actually used as a medicine.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right. If you read the memories of Casanova, he had a lot of adventures. He had a lot of sexually transmissible disease, and he was using mercury to heal himself. Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Old Casanova.
Casanova.
Okay.
So let's go back to the story. So the group is going to stay 1 year in Meruvardhana, on that shore of the lake. And Yeshua could not stop himself from, again, healing sick people and talking about love. Of this love, he was an ambassador of, He talks a lot about death in order to teach about living. It was important to untangle the web of lies created by most religions, right? And the people around Meruvardhana were more receptive to these teachings, such as reincarnation, and other concepts, than the people in Palestine. So during the winter, while snow was covering lightly the town, a dream pulled Yeshua out of his slumber. And what he saw in the dream, which is really not a dream, but in a virgin space, Yusuf, his uncle, was getting closer to Yeshua. And the first thought that came to Yeshua was that Yusuf had transitioned to the other side, right? But it was not the case. Yusuf had joined Yeshua to get rid of a weight, almost a lie, that was eating him up. And it was not a lie that hurts or maims, it was just an obsession that had disappointed Yusuf during his entire lifetime. Oh. And what Uncle Yusuf had said is that before Yeshua's departure to the east at the age of 13, he had taken Yeshua to navigate to Britannia, to England, right, to complete his education. So Yusuf had this dream that he needed, we know that Yusuf has a fleet of merchant ships, right? Right. And so he wanted to take Yeshua to England and to do some completion of his training or teaching there, perhaps with druids or some Celtic traditions, who knows. Right. But we also know that at that time, Yoshiram, which is an old friend of the family, we saw Yoshiram in the first episodes, also had a premonition dream, and he was seeing himself and Yeshua walking toward the east, which is India and Himalayas and the Indias. And then later on, that dream was confirmed by the mother of Yeshua. And so poor Uncle Yusuf had to abandon his dream of taking Yeshua to England, but this stuff has been eating up at him, And something else too, Yusuf would have loved to walk with Yeshua, and he had kept that frustration deep inside himself all his life. But because of his business and his activity, he was not free to do all that. And so it was a source of sadness and disappointment for Yusuf, something he had never accepted and healed. And it would be interesting to I wish the Daniel Moa could do the Akashic memories of Uncle Yusuf.
Yeah.
That would be something.
It'd be nice to get that perspective, right?
Yeah, it would be fantastic too, yeah. So you may wonder, it could be childish for a great soul like Yusuf, but the wounds are wounds. And, the road is long until the human soul can master and erase the stigmas of what hurt in the past, yeah. So on that night, the light presence of Yusuf nested itself in Yeshua's arms, just to find some solace. In fact, by doing that, Yusuf was forgiving himself, because Yeshua really had nothing against him.
Right.
He had always been there to help him, financially, and especially after the crucifixion, all the stuff he put in place,
right,
to allow him to regain his life, yeah. But a few months later, however, during a dream that was not one, again, the departure of Yusuf from the physical plane was clearly announced. So Yusuf was back into his true home, a house of dignity, service, and love for the plan. He really had dedicated his life to the plan, and Yeshua was very happy for it. And when we talk about the plan, again, this is the plan put in place by the people in Shambhala and by the extraterrestrial who are in charge of the enlightenment and the evolution of planet Earth. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
So that event triggered the little group to leave Meruvardhana and the shore of the lake. And again, all the attention was on Yeshua instead of being spread and shared among the 3 other members. So because of that, they had to move somewhere else. Yeah. And in addition, the little group needed more solitude and more time in communion with nature, most of all, more silence to visit the sky of the heart or the path to spirit. Yeah?
I can understand that.
Yeah, we can understand that, yeah. So very quickly, a place made perfect sense to Yeshua. And it was that small village where he had stayed with Melkus, the caravan leader, on his way back from the Himalayas and before going to Alexandria in Egypt, okay? So Melkus, tired of his nomadic life, had decided to marry and created a family. So he married a young woman called Yasmina, and I think he had kids also. And a lot of people living in that village were descendants also of Benjamin and David. So it was kind of an outpost of people coming from Palestine.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Like a mini community,
Okay, yeah.
So actually, it's very good for Yeshua and his family because they talk the same language pretty much.
Yeah,
that's how that helps.
It's nice when you're in a foreign country to find somebody who speaks the language. Yeah, your own.
So it was not so much an incentive for Yeshua, but he had noticed that these men and women were in peace, living as shepherds near the beauty of the mountains, And if the little group was accepted, Yeshua was feeling that this would be a good place to age, and all the members of his group would bloom into it. And this pastoral community still exists today. It is named Yusmarg, and the name of the people is called the Beni Israel, which means the children of Israel.
Yeah.
So the path to Yusmarg from Meruvardhana, although steep, turned out to be a piece of cake for the seasoned trekkers, that Yeshua and his family are. And 2 days later, they arrived in Yusmarg. And again, I was able to find on the web some pictures, beautiful picture of that small community. Of course, the community has changed nowadays.
Yeah.
Now it's more modern. There is an hotel.
Of course, yeah.
There are I mean, you can rent places to spend the weekend in nature and so forth. And so it's completely different, yeah. And so when they arrive, it's a fresh weather, and they are all surrounded by evergreens, which they probably have never seen before in Palestine or in the deserts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was at that point, it was just a hamlet composed of a set of small houses made of stones and wood in a meadow where a small river was snaking through. All around were woods, and that was the place. They really liked it. And when they arrive, dog starts barking and children run to them, of course.
Right.
In those villages in the middle of mountains.
Somebody new that shows up.
Yeah, not
It's
much
a big
is
deal.
happening. Yeah.
It's like Santa coming. Sorry, I didn't mean to put
Yeah.
that in there.
Very few people were ever coming to that place, and the novelty was attracting children and, of course, women. One of the kids grabbed the reins of Sarah's horse to lead them to his home, and a man wearing a large sainif, which is the typical, it's like a big veil that you have on the head, came to them. And Yeshua had only two names in mind. He had the name of Melkus and his wife Yasmina. So he's asking Melkus, and the man repeats, Melkus, Melkus, while looking intensely to Yeshua. And then he pointed to a larger house where a woman wearing a black robe was standing. And her hair was covered by the blue veil, falling down all the way to her waist. And her wrists were ornamented by a multitude of bracelets, gifts, and memories of the numerous travels of Melkus. So I suspect that while still being married, Melkus was still traveling with the caravan.
Coming back with little gifts.
And he was coming back with some trinkets and gifts. Yeah. And Yeshua says, Melkus, turning to the woman. And the woman again, Yasmina in that case, looked intensely at Yeshua, slightly bowed, and pushed open the door of her home. In full respect, Yeshua entered the place alone and barefoot, after removing his shoes. And he took a few steps inside the house, and he found an old man with a very long white beard, all folded on a bed of ropes. And it was Melkus, very old. He had kept the sharp gaze of his eyes, similar to a fox, like a fox from the deserts, And the two men looked at each other for a while, and then Yeshua put his forehead on Melkus' feet. And at that point, Melkus started shivering and trembling, and he goes, Yeshua, it is not possible. You are so old. What happened to you? And Yeshua cannot stop himself. He has to laugh at that remark.
Yeah.
Because coming from a guy who is basically
bent over,
gray hair, stuck on a bed,
Yeah.
So quickly, Yeshua is learning that Melkus had lost the use of his two legs because of a bad fall he did in the mountains.
Oh.
Yeah. And his hips had been broken, and he had to stay in a bed all the time. He could no longer be standing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Can you imagine back in those days trying to...
Oh my God. Especially after having had such an adventurous life. Yeah, like him. Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. Yeah. So his only moments of happiness for Melkus were when his son was moving his bed outside. So somehow I don't know if it was a rolling bed or whatever, they could transport him outside. Yeah. And Yeshua does not tell Marcus all the details of his life, but Melkus understands that the desert fox, is actually
keen. He knows.
Yeah, he knows what happened. Yeah, he's feeling it. He's guessing what had happened to Yeshua. Yeah. And after a few days, Yeshua tells Melkus about the desire of the small group to stay within the village. And Melkus says, I think I knew it would happen. Melkus knew that they would be back.
Eventually, he would have him back. Yeah.
So as it was the ritual in that time. The whole hamlet is meeting, but nobody knows Yeshua and his brother and sisters, right? But Melkus had become some kind of authority within the village. And after some deliberations, Yeshua and his family are authorized to stay in the village.
Oh.
Yep. And the community is, in fact, gathering to help them build a house where they could live. See? That's very,
nice.
very welcoming.
That is very community oriented,
Right.
kind of like the Amish, right?
Exactly. That's what it reminds me.
Yeah.
It was, for Yeshua, it was a time of peace, finally, where they could feel welcome. They could feel like they were being helped. They had a house to stay. And so the life starts in the village, of Yusmarg. And at night, Yeshua is flying above the mountains and the deserts, all the way to the shores of Greece or the country of Cal, which later on becomes Gaul and later on France, and even to Rome, where a few of his disciples were trying to go, despite the persecutions and obstacles. And the people at that time were already called Christus, because they were simple men and spoke of total freedom. So the name that they gave them was Christus. So Yeshua could see their willingness in their suffering, But he says, it is now their stories, the breath that is multiplying through them. It does not belong to me anymore. It is the river of the living that takes it all. Yeah. I mean, he has done his job, right?
He has. I mean, above and beyond.
Right. Above and beyond. Yes, definitely. Yeah. So the little community of Yusmarg is observing Yeshua and his family, and they could see that they were not praying like them. They refused to eat the flesh of lambs and sheep. They were eating herbs and plants. On top of that, Yeshua was very intimidating to most of them.
It's funny, right?
Yeah. So all this is going to change one winter morning when Yeshua comes to visit Melkus. And Melkus was laying in a awning built in front of his home, and he was covered by thick animal hides, And he goes, Yeshua, I'm not sure I will see the next spring. Look at me. My body does not respond to me. I'm just a piece of dry wood for my family. Dry wood.
That's funny.
So Melkus is actually taking advantage of Yasmina's absence, his wife's absence, to confide to Yeshua. And despite what he was saying, his gaze was always sharp and strong, like the desert foxes, And Yeshua was overwhelmed. And he went into that state he knew so well when the divine grace is coming to him.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, Melkus, my brother, is it really this which is inscribed in you? Perhaps you are the one placing it in you. Me, I do not see it. And Melkus is stupefied by that answer, And at that moment, one of his sons, followed by Sarah, just came also to watch the two men talking. And Yeshua continues, my brother, I'm asking you, do you want to live? Do you really want it? And Yeshua's voice at that point is solid, is commanding, almost authoritative, And Melkus is surprised, is shocked. Yes, master. And it's interesting to see that this is the first time Melkus is calling Yeshua master.
Oh, okay.
He has always called him Yeshua. He knew him as a boy, and later on a young man. So it was the first time Melkus was recognizing Yeshua beyond the veils of oblivion, right? He was recognizing the true nature of Yeshua. And with a quick and strong gesture, Yeshua is removing the animal hides that are covering Melkus. First, he blows on his forehead, and then the eyes, and then his mouth, and he started massaging energetically the hips and the legs of Melkus, before placing some saliva mixed with dirt on the sole of his feet. He always do that, the mix of saliva and dirt, And he made that gesture last. He was massaging him for a long time, knowing he was the life of the world condensed in that moment, in this prayer which was empty of words. And then he goes, "Stand up, Melkus. Stand up immediately and place your feet on the ground." And
Melkus is like, really?
Melkus is, but and Yeshua insists, "Stand up." And then, the old folks, crying, found the strength to pivot his body. He's laying on the bed, so he's pivoting. He swings his legs on the side until his feet were touching the ground. And at that point, Yeshua grabs him under the arms and placed him straight up. And he goes, "Melkus, walk. Come on, walk." But Melkus started walking with small steps, but he was walking by himself. And he turned back to look at Yeshua, and his eyes were darting like if he was, firing them, like he was coming back from the other side of the world. And his son started crying, calling people around him, while Sarah was sobering, hiding her face. And this is how Melkus started walking again with vigor, despite his weakened muscles. It was multiple years that he has not been walking. But it was written, life in the village would never be the same after that.
How could it be?
Yeah, again, people would prosternate in front of Yeshua, and he would have to accept it, And again, one cannot be other than what he is,
Yeah. Can't keep hiding.
No, despite all the attempts of Yeshua to remain discreet and ignored, life was always tearing the veil of discretion.
The divine wasn't going to allow that to happen, right?
And revealing his true nature, exactly, yeah. And Avshtara cannot hide. And Avshtara is an avatar, right? Cannot hide. Even by controlling the paramukta, it is impossible for him to hide. You could wonder, can the sun hide behind the moon? No, it's not possible. But something else is the Avshtara cannot delay the flight of a soul either. And a little bit later, one day, Melkus transitioned during his sleep. So that's something to happen. I guess he had a long life, and it's good that he could regain his capability to walk
before he left.
So Yeshua was again, not only the Swami that performs miracle, but he was also the master that you need to talk to learn how to live in harmony with the forces of the universe. And the last point was the most important for Yeshua. Healing was cool, but opening the heart and expanding the consciousness through teachings was the most important for him. Yeah. So years are going to pass, allowing Sarah, Thomas, and Mariam to travel from villages to villages, and sometimes even back to Lake Dal, to talk about the love that was unifying everything, And the goal of Thomas specifically was to heal the wounds of the soul. And Yeshua enjoyed immensely listening to his brother speak with so much passion about it, And I think Thomas has been writing some books too, right?
Right. Yeah. There's a book.
Right. So Mariam gave Thomas a daughter and then a son. Sarah, the sister of Yeshua, married one of Melkus' nephews.
Oh, keep it in the family.
Yes, exactly. And they were now forming a whole family dedicated to the divine, And quickly, Yeshua realized that the people of the mountains who had so quickly welcomed them and accepted them were, despite a lack of culture and intellectual knowledge, they were very capable when it came to abstract matters.
Wow.
They understood that very well. And I think it's probably due to the fact that they are grounded to the earth,
right.
So their brain and their mind is not polluted with all the stupid stuff we learn. Yeah. And as we mentioned, the language also was very similar and allowed a lot of language exchanges, And Yeshua is thinking, the body of the earth has some similarity with human body. And Yeshua was seeing a liver in the place where they were staying. So he was seeing the organ liver.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeshua had visited his own liver in meditation and found out that it was divided in 8 small sections, all linked to a major vessel carrying the blood of life. And we are talking about the vein, the portal vein, which carries the multiple elements from the digestion. And Yeshua had seen in the liver the 8 rays of the star with their regenerative forces symbolically colored with blue. He also understood why and how the liver can regenerate itself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Meruvardhana and its lake, as well as all the mountains around it, were the liver of the planet Earth. They were essential for the balance of the planet and its inhabitants. And it was a reality that Yeshua had perceived for a long time. So I guess we could say that some people have been doing similar studies, and we know that there are chakras on the planet, right?
Right.
Which are very important places. And some places on the earth correspond also to certain organs. Yeah. So, but according to Yeshua, the liver is in Meruvardhana, Dal Lake. Yeah. So, therefore, more than ever, Yeshua was going to work for the health of the human souls and mix his soul with the happiness of the existing souls, in order to create the unity of all the colors of the divine. So, he wanted to create the unity of the colors of Gautama Buddha, of Shiva Shankara, of Jagannatha, of Brahma, of Hawun, of the nameless, and many more from the past, the present, and even the future. So what he's trying to do is condense all these religions and show to the human population that they are basically the same stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And he wanted to heal the past and seed the future. That was his life goal. And so the years are going, he spends a lot of years. Numerous travelers are coming to that little village, sometimes from far away, rich or poor people, not
The
always
word gets
knowing,
out.
not always knowing why they were here, having simply heard of a certain Isha or Ishi. So again, in those places, they could not pronounce the name of Yeshua correctly, so they call him Isha or Eshe. Yeah, it's important I think it's very important. I'm emphasizing on that, insisting, because when we talk about the location of his tomb, is not presented as Yeshua, but is presented as Isha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, that was a good way to keep it incognito too,
Yes,
right?
Perhaps, yeah. So for them, for these travelers, Yeshua was a mysterious master with a body marked by strange wounds. A master who did not want any honor or monastery, who did not go to temples, and who even refused all marks of devotion. And Yeshua was only looking for the proximity of the souls. And it was said that there were 3 ways for the enlightenment of the being. There is the way of service, which we call the karma yoga. There is the way of devotion, which is called the bhakti yoga, right? And then there is the way of knowledge, which is the jnana yoga. And Yeshua had seen so much laziness and stagnation for the second way, the devotion, right? That he was working to create a bridge between the first, which is the service, and the third, the knowledge. It was
right.
Because he realized that the people were basically being trapped in the devotion.
Right,
And they
getting
could not
lost
go,
in that. And
yes, and they couldn't go any
they
further.
weren't going inside for themselves.
Yeah.
It was just outer.
Right. So maybe it was too ambitious at that time, but this is what he tried to do. And 2,000 years did not provide another solution to the past.
It's getting better, I think.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So poorly understood devotion was leading to blind adoration and dependency, and that was, most people fall into that. It was not conducive to any effort, but it was in fact a recipe, a trap to dogmas that sooner or later would petrify the mind.
Right.
Yeah. So therefore, the teachings of Yeshua are centered around the projects of help and support, sometimes very physical projects, leading to a state of compassion. Also, his words are always accompanied of meditative exercises and breathing techniques, which are calling for the abstractions and the closeness to the spirit world. So the first project that they did in that small community was actually to build a bedside. So a bedside, we have seen that in a previous episode, but it's some kind of inn, like a little hotel where people can gather when they are sick, wounded, or they just want to, they
A
are
little
traveling.
healing center.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So it was to heal sick and wounded people, and also a place to offer, lodging for the wanderers and the travelers. But very smartly, to preserve the tranquility of the village, that bedside was erected a couple of miles down the pass before getting to the village.
Oh, okay.
So
they were separating the home.
Yes,
from,
exactly. So the people wouldn't
Yeah.
have to go through the village, to benefit from the
Right.
what was offered.
And it kept their place,
Yes,
silent
exactly. Yeah.
and place of sanctuary.
So for Yeshua, it was a joy to teach and talk about the true nature of the human body and its universe, so similar to the cosmos glittering above our heads every night. So 12 years are going to go by like that. Although solid, Yeshua could feel his body age. His back and his feet were sometimes painful. Wrist that he called the wrist of Nathaniel. And during the crucifixion, as you may remember, Nathaniel, that poor soul who was in charge of nailing his left wrist, basically missed and created some kind of a karmic wound. Yeah. And one morning in early spring, Thomas came to see Yeshua near the little grotto where Yeshua was enjoying retiring. And Thomas seemed worried, but Yeshua knew why. And he goes, "Master, my brother, I think I will have to go soon. I mean, go away from here. I had numerous dreams for a year. The dreams are telling me to go east, far east, perhaps all the way where you went near the sea. I saw that sea in my dreams." And Yeshua goes, "You believe or you are certain, Thomas?" And Thomas says, "To be honest, I'm convinced. And if the Eternal wants it, it has to happen." And Yeshua says, "If you dreamed about it and remember it, it is because he called you and you already answered. But what about Mariam?" And Thomas goes, "Oh, I told her. She cannot come along. Our last child is still too young. And she knows the fire inside me. It is a fire which is just an ember compared to yours, but there are men and women who are waiting for it. I'm still solid, and Mariam will wait for me." And so a week later, Thomas left riding a mule. And Yeshua understood that his brother Thomas was scared, but he was too much like Yeshua to show it. And Yeshua goes, "Go, my brother, be blessed. Pray Jagannatha and his ocean for us." And Yeshua knew, however, that he would never see his brother again. Yeah. So, to talk about Thomas, Thomas went to the southeast of India. Basically, he followed a little bit the path that Yeshua had done, and he went all the way to the shores of the Indian Ocean. He later went into the Bengal Gulf, and he was going up to the city of Chennai, which is called Madras. I guess today it's called Chennai. In the old days, it used to be Madras. And Thomas was executed there because of his stand against the system of castes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, this is something
Lots of people have been battling that for a long time.
And Yeshua had all, tried to fight against it, when he
Mm.
was in the southern part of India.
Probably why he had to leave, right?
Yeah,
Didn't he
he
have to
probably
leave?
he had to leave. He was
Mm.
almost pushed, into a fire.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
They tried to kill him,
Yeah.
but they could not do it. Yeah. And so the cathedral of Chennai is called the Thomas Cathedral, and it's supposed to have the tomb of Thomas in it.
Oh, okay. You have pictures of that?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
And
good.
we'll post some pictures of it. Yeah.
Very good.
So this is it for that. It was a long episode. We talked a lot.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of good information about
There was a
those
lot of good information.
lingam.
Yeah. You'll see you have pictures of the lingam because we
Yes.
have one. We have a little.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
But it doesn't come from the
Well,
sky.
yeah, it doesn't come from the sky, but it's like gives you an idea of what
Mhm.
it looks like and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have pictures of it so people
Yes.
can see it. It's good.
And I have pictures also of the solidified mercury lingam too,
That's crazy.
which can be seen today, in
Mhm.
the city of Pune. Yeah. So
Interesting. Ah, wow. Well, thank you so much. Thank
always
you.
my
And
pleasure.
thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, I think we have 2 more episodes.
Yeah, we'll be done with the book.
Yeah, the next one is going to be an episode where there is some kind of convention between different trends of Buddhism
Mm.
and Hinduism,
Okay.
and then Yeshua in the middle. So they all do a powwow,
Isn't that nice?
Yes, and talk about how to basically reorganize the Buddhism, and then the final episode will be the transition of Yeshua.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.